Good morning, everyone, and welcome to CSL Cape Coral, and welcome to this time of meditation. We'll be going into meditation for about 15 minutes. So welcome to all those that have been here before and those that are new here. Glad to see the many faces this morning. So this year's theme is Living Out Loud, and this month is Light Within the Shadows. So I have a little bit of a different meditation today. I'm going to be reading a quote through the meditation, and I'll guide you through that as well. So if you'd like to take a moment, just relax, find a comfortable position, and go ahead and close your eyes, the outer eyes, and just open that inner eye and just center yourself into that divine space, that peaceful, safe space that is always present. Open yourself up to that, just knowing that we are each blessed with a bright light. So why not radiate our special brilliance at its fullest? And for this summary for this month, light and dark, they coexist together and cradle each other in support. There isn't one without the other. They each have their own traits and characteristics. They may seem to operate independently, but actually they are a pair that work in unison as complements within the spectrum. Generally, we have learned to embrace the light as good and avoid darkness as bad, given its unknowns and mystery. However, the two work powerfully in synergy together. So this month we're exploring how to appreciate and welcome both the light and dark for which they each bring and offer the other. So as we go into this meditation, I'm going to be reading a quote from Marianne Williamson. It's very powerful, and it's titled Our Deepest Fear, and I'm sure many of you may have already read this or know it very well. So here it starts. And take these words into the depths of your soul. Listen to them and breathe in this inspiring wisdom. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? And who are you not to be, as you are a child of God? Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, just as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And now we'll go into about 5 minutes of silent meditation. question to everyone here is, who do you think you are? You are a child of God, of that greater source, the infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it. So go out there and just shine your light. Bring yourself back into this space, feeling yourself on the chair, wiggling your toes and your fingers, and when you're ready, you may open your eyes. And thank you. We will have about a 15-minute break here before we start the Sunday celebration. Everyone can stay in here or go back out into the foyer there, and we'll see you at 10:30. Namaste.
God's in charge. I'm just a vehicle. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday celebration where we are celebrating your spiritual magnificence. Woohoo! Please welcome our beloved and amazing, the Big Love Band.
Good morning. All right, well, we are recycling a couple songs from last week, which means you have no excuse to not know the words. So stand up, we're going to get some energy going. We have a couple band members that were a little under the weather, so hold them in the light today that they are knowing and healing in their best. And we also have a guest bass player. Yay. So say hi, Rich. We are very grateful, and I am very grateful to have him on stage with us. All right, let's get some love flowing. There's a reason for the sunshine day. There's a reason while I'm feeling so high. Must be the season when that love light shines all around us. So let that feeling grab you deep inside and send you reeling where your love can't hide, and then go stealing through the moonlit nights with your lover. Just let your love show like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on a wing, and let your love bind you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. It's the reason. There's a reason for the warm, sweet nights. There's a reason for the candle lights. Must be the season when those love lights shine all around us. So let the wonder take you into space and lay you under. It's love and praise. Just feel the thunder as it warms your face. You can't hold back. Just let your love show like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on a wing, and let your love bind you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. It's the reason. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. All right, let's go. Let your love fly like a bird on a wing, and let your love bind you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. It's the reason. That's the reason. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I feel the love. Ernest Holmes is the founder of our philosophy, and we teach the universal truths found in the spiritual teachings, both traditional and contemporary. Please visit our website at cslcapecoral.org for information on upcoming events, to submit a prayer request, or to send us your comments and questions. And now, let's take a moment to just embrace our beloved Karen Gidley. She's a religious science certified practitioner here who is holding high watch during our service today. Karen is maintaining a high consciousness through meditation, realizing wholeness for the community, and highest best for all attendees, service teams, and the guest speaker. So let's just hold us in this spiritual essence. Thank you, Karen. You are beloved by us. So now, do we get it again? Are we ready for this? Okay, take it away, Big Love Band.
So we're having our love flow into the pure light.
So we introduced this song to them last week, so now we're expecting you to sing along with it this week. Okay, there we go.
Life is in me, moving through me, beyond question, staying strong. Power and presence is my essence, been within me all along. What is there to be afraid of? Pure light is what we are made of. Life is in you. Can you feel it? Look inside you, look around. Power and presence is your essence. Where you stand is holy ground. What is there to be afraid of? Pure light is what we are made of. What is there to be afraid of? Pure light is what we are made of. Life is in me, moving through me, beyond question, staying strong. Power and presence is my essence, been within me all along. What is there to be afraid of? Pure light is what we are made of. What is there to be afraid of? Pure light is what we are made of. What is there to be afraid of? Pure light is what we are made of. What is there to be afraid of? Pure light is what we are made of. We are made of pure light. 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 Pure light. Pure light.
So I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Idalia Romero. I'm a religious science certified practitioner here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral. So again, welcome everyone. And we do want to welcome you, each and every one of you. So why don't we take this moment to just stand and just hold each other in this very essence of this pure light that we have just been singing about, and just welcome each other as we repeat. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are thankful that you are here. Welcome to the center. Okay. All right, so I think we got another treat coming along, right? So now, Big Love
All right,
Band.
well, you're welcome to sit, but this one is kind of a jiving one if you want to dance. It kind of goes with our theme of lights, camera, action, and those used to scare me a lot. Stage fright is a big thing, but I think all of us can experience a little stage fright, but with this song, you might not feel like that. So feel it as we all shine together in that spotlight. Gonna be the first on the dance floor, the first to raise my hand, the first to state my opinion, the first to take a stand. I won't play it safe and wait for a sign. I'm gonna throw myself out there and let my light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. I let my big, bright, brilliant beam of radiant light shine. Woo! I'll be popular on TV and all over the news. They'll be talking about me and all the things I do. I'll be the one who sets the bar, the one who's in the know. Folks will come to see me where fashion trends will go. 'Cause I shine, yes I shine. I let my big, bright, brilliant beam of radiant light shine. For too many years I hid my life, fearing I was too much and who I was just wasn't right. And I heard this voice from within and up above saying you're here to be a shining light and give and receive love. So I'm going for my dreams, nothing's in my way. Carpe diem is my mantra, I practice kindness every day. I take time to connect, take time to have fun. I wanna know I've used up every drop before my life is done. So I shine, yes I shine. I let my big, bright, brilliant beam of radiant light shine. For too many years I hid my light, fearing I was too much and who I was just wasn't right. But I heard this voice from within and up above saying you're here to be a shining light and give and receive love.
Give and receive love.
I'm a human of power, a human of grace. The life that I've lived is in every wrinkle on my face. I love myself so I can love you too. I know when we're connected there ain't nothing we can do. So let's shine, let's all shine. Let our big, bright, brilliant beam of radiant light shine. So let's shine, let's all shine. Let our big, bright, brilliant beam of radiant light shine. Yes, we shine, oh, yes, we shine. We let our big, bright, brilliant beam of radiant light shine.
I don't know about you guys, but sometimes sometimes I just, let spirit take me where it takes me. Thank you. Thank you, Big Love Band. You're amazing. So at this time, we just want to take a moment to invite our little young, beautiful spiritual beings to attend our youth program. And they're free to go into their classroom. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for taking care of our little dear ones. So now it's our time for a special reading. So we want to welcome one of our religious science certified practitioners, Valerie Data, to deliver this week's reading. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you, Adalia. So this morning, the reading is from the book, The Thunder of Silence by Joel S. Goldsmith. And from the chapter, Ye Are the Light. We become the light of the world in proportion to our degree of illumination. Some students attain that illumination quickly, and some wait, and wait for the great experience to descend upon them. When it comes, however, it comes suddenly. Although the preparation leading up to it may have taken many, many years of studying and meditating, during which time we seem to have made little or no progress. From the first moment, however, that we are seriously turned to the attainment of realization, our progress has been rapid, even though to outward appearances, imperceptible. It is like removing a mountain. From the first shovel of dirt that is carried away, progress is being made in leveling the entire mountain. But a mountain is made up of countless shovels of earth and stone, and not until many of these have been removed is it apparent that any noticeable progress has been made. So it is that when we are aware of the density of human selfhood, we know that we are moving a mountain of ignorance, and although a beginning is made with our first serious meditation, progress will not be too evident for a long, long time. Then all of a sudden, it seems to burst upon us like a flash of light. When we have been touched by the Spirit, it is evident in the light shining forth from our eyes and the glow on our face. Outwardly, our life changes. Our human relationships change, our nature changes, our health changes, and sometimes even our physical form changes, but only because such changes are the outer manifestation of an inner glory, an inner light which has been attained by contact with the Father within and which has once again established us in Eden. Our purpose is to be the transparency through which the light, not we, but the light performs its mighty works, to be the instrument through which the divine can manifest and express itself on earth as it does in heaven. We are never the doer. We are never the actor. We are always the vacuum through which spirit flows. Let us never for a moment believe that by our spiritual endowments we will ever attain personal or spiritual power. There is no room in spiritual living for egotism or for the exercise of personal power. God does not give his power to another. God does not give his glory to another. The power, the glory, and the dominion always remain in God, and we are but instruments, humble servants or transparencies through which that light may shine. And so now it is time for holding the light. This is our time for holding someone or a situation in the light. So please bring to mind and your heart the person or situation as we enter a few moments of silence. And so we are grateful to lift up those things into the light, knowing that the solutions and the goodness of life is inevitable. And so we trust and release. And so I'm so grateful for this time together, for every hand, heart, and mind that is participating in allowing that divine goodness to be expressed. So we have an open heart and an open mind with an eagerness to hear the message that Reverend Chris allows himself to be that divine instrument of God. So I'm knowing that it is all good, and I bless this time together, and together join me in saying, and so it is. And so now it's my great pleasure to welcome Reverend Chris to the stage. Please bring him up to the stage. Thank you.
Well, good morning. I'm back in my happy place, another Sunday, and so many beautiful faces. I could just stand here and bask in it all day long because it really, really, really lights me up. That's what it's all about. Great big love band, letting that light, that, now I lost it, the alliteration, the big, bright, beautiful, brilliant, radiant beam of light. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in here. It's the last week of doing shadow talk for the rest of the month, and I think it's a great way to really bring it together because it's moving us forward into a new place. And I like this theme this week, lights, camera, action. So when we think about our lives, if your life was a movie, I want you to think about a couple different questions. Are you the director of your own movie? Or is it maybe somebody else? Is it life circumstances, events that end up kind of sidelining you and it's just kind of running the show? And maybe even another risk there is, are you even the star role? Quite often, those other things can kind of override, and they end up looking like they are the role. So I think it's important for us to, every now and then, maybe this is the first time for some of you, maybe it's the first time for me, to sit back and think about, if my life was a movie, at the very end, when we get to the end, what is the takeaway? What are people going to say, it was a good movie? I like that. We have these ideas while we're living of, what it means to live that full life. And, the dreamer in me is, goes back to looking at the people that seem to have it all. They got the money, they've got fame, they've got, all the toys, they got all the people around them, the parties, the good life, all that stuff. But when I sit and think about what do I want my movie to say, that's not it. That's not what's drawing me, moving me forward. And a lot of those people that have all those things, they'll say the same thing. I got all that, and it still felt like something was missing. It's because that something is within us. And it wants to express. It wants to be big. It wants to shine. A meditation today from Karen was, I just love that saying from Marianne Williamson that, who are you not to let your light shine so big? So many of us, when we are brought up and culturized and, going out in the world and we meet more people that kind of reinforce these ideas that we are supposed to play small. You don't want to stand out. That's vulnerable. You're putting yourself at risk. People might not like that. There's a part of you that, you're outside of the status quo. You should probably not let that shine because it makes people really uncomfortable. All these things that we hear throughout our lives that is ultimately directing the lives of individuals, and we just kind of go along with it. But when we're doing that, we're missing that divine that is within us that wants to express. That's why it's here within us. That's why it whispers in our ear that this is who you are. So the first thing really to start thinking about is to stop acting so small. Be that lead role actor in your life. This comes from Rumi, a Sufi mystic and a poet, and he says, stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. And how easy it is. Like, this is one of my guiding principles, one of my mantras. And even that being said, I still go through many times in life that I just get caught up in the humdrums, and I'm just going through the motions. I can find myself even, kind of depressed and down and just like, I don't feel like doing anything today, nothing. But then if I just take a minute and revel in that idea that we have literally the universe flowing through our bodies. We are made of the same stuff that came from the Big Bang billions of years ago, literally made of stardust. And just looking at like the stars in that sky, the brilliance, that's one of the ways that reminds me this same thing that we are all a part of is every bit of what is in your being, and in my being, and in your being, and your being. And any time in our movies that we want to suppress others or want to suppress ourselves, we're denying that beauty. We're denying the beauty that could be. Could you imagine if one day, you went out at night to see the stars and they just weren't there? What a loss. And yet that happens to us all the time. All the time in our world, there are people that are afraid to speak up, afraid to show up how their heart is calling them to show up. And nobody knows. And we are all silently robbed of that brilliance. So we need to stop acting so small. Now, last week I brought in one of my favorite teachers, one of the great masters. We talk about Centers for Spiritual Living. This is called the Science of Mind. It's a branch of a New Thought philosophy. But, it was, I think, in my third class that Reverend Raz Smith said, yeah, it's New Thought. It's only been around for about 3,000 years or so. And it's true. And which, here's a plug for my class, From Whence We Came, is coming up starting in a couple weeks. We're going to see that. We're going to see the large history that formed what we're practicing today that is still evolving. Like, this religion is never done, which is what's so beautiful about it. Ernest Holmes said that same thing when he left, when he was getting ready, knowing that he would leave the world someday. He said, when I'm gone, burn my stuff. I hope I've inspired enough people that are taking this philosophy way beyond anything I can imagine. I admire that. It's open at the top. We are constantly evolving. That upward spiral, that is what we are here for. So, long story short, to get back to bringing in that master teacher, Jesus. I very much resonate with a lot of his teachings, and the parables were no exception. So last week we talked about the prodigal son. Well, this week it's a short one. So from the book of Matthew, this is the light under the bushel psalm. Or not psalm, but you know what I mean. Verses from Matthew, book 5, chapter 5, verses 14 through 16. I'll read it for anybody that doesn't have it, but it says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others. They may see your good deeds and glorify, so that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Letting our light be dim, we are depriving the glory of whatever we believe in. I call it God, the Father, Spirit. But it's there within us for a reason. It is not meant to be suppressed. So often, that role that we're playing, it's a dress rehearsal. We keep like, I will shine when I do this. When I've accomplished enough, and I'm just going to step up, and man, life's going to be great once I get to there. But you're already great. You were born. You have that universe flowing through you, and you are already brilliant. And to keep reminding ourselves, yeah, that's our role, and we're stepping into it, but we're not doing this alone. We're not alone. We're not just our ego. So now we'll go to a more modern teacher, Ernest Holmes, and he says, there is ever pressing against us the dynamic force of that which paints the sunset and causes the soft glow of the evening twilight, sings in the bird and plays in the child, and proclaims itself at the level of our recognition of it. Every person is an outlet for the divine. So it's pressing against us the dynamic force of that with a capital T. That's spirit, pressing against us. And it's the same energy that sings the bird, makes the children laugh and play. And that is powerful. So, your movie, what are we creating? Well, if it's not us in the director's seat, if it's the circumstances around us, then we're just bounced around, and that script has no main point. And when we get to the end of that movie, I've seen a couple of movies like that where you walk out and you're just like, I just don't know what that was. But other movies, that really touch your soul, Eckhart Tolle talks a lot about this, and he's a big fan of the movie Groundhog Day. I love Eckhart Tolle. And because he says the best movies are the ones that there's a spiritual transformation for the protagonist, that when you see it, it happens to you a little bit too. Just to witness somebody else shining their light brightly lights up something within us. And out there in the world, when some people are afraid and the lights of others make them uncomfortable and they're running around like, please don't shine your light, that makes me uncomfortable. There's nothing that can dim your own light, and when another light shines, it just makes it brighter for everyone. So let's start thinking about it. Like right now, I invite you and encourage you to make a plan. What is your life? What is your movie? For so much of my life, it's just been really trying to get through it. Just get through one more day. Just get me through this day and put my head on that pillow. Whew, and then the next day, do the same. But as soon as I started recognizing, wait a minute, we have some control in this. We have some power. We really do have power to influence our outcomes and what we manifest in our life, which is why we come to Centers for Spiritual Living, or at least a lot of us, because we know that the power of the Word and the power of mind and affirmative prayer really creates shift and creates our reality. And at that same time, there's stuff that happens in life that is out of our control. But we always have control of how we react or respond to that. But we have to have a plan in order to optimize that. So if you don't have an overall picture of what people would like to say at the end of your life, start thinking about that. This week, many times, what came up as I was thinking about this talk was my grandma that passed probably around 25 years ago, and we called her Tyke because her real name was Myrtle Laverne. Awesome. But Tyke, she popped into my head so many times while I was thinking on this talk, and she's at key moments in my life, she's the one that's popped in there. And so I started thinking about what was her movie? And I couldn't really think of any accomplishments that I ever heard about. I never really knew anything that she did. But what I remembered is how she always made me feel. Every time I saw her, she said something that just made me feel better about myself. Every single time. And just thinking about her right now, that lights up that light within me again. She's still there with me. I think it's, let's say Bob Sima maybe, somebody, that they'll always remember how you made them feel. All the other stuff, it's just, minutia. But what are you putting out, and how would you like people to see? Now, this idea of making a plan, I'm going to leave one other example, that this is kind of like a tool for your toolbox that has worked very well in mine. So about 15 years ago is when I quit smoking. Really wanted to quit smoking. I had tried several times and it never taken. But this time, I meant it. But for some reason, and I'm sure it was from somebody I was reading actually it was before I was getting back into metaphysical. Somewhere I picked it up. I knew I had to make a plan because I knew I wanted to quit smoking, but I also knew from my years of experience that there was going to be a time in the near future that I was going to say, forget it. I want that cigarette. I knew that was going to happen. So this time I had to make that plan, and it was, anytime I want that cigarette, I will have to wait 7 minutes before I can have it. That's about the time that it would take to smoke it. But not just that. I want to do something positive for that 7 minutes that is going towards my future plan. I wanted to live a more orderly life. So the main thing that I would do is, okay, I want a cigarette. I'm okay, I'll just wait. Nope, I want it. So I would get up and I would dust off the TV, dust off the shelf that it sat on. I got a couple more minutes. And then I would just do a couple things. Maybe it would be some push-ups, or maybe it would be, if it was like after a restaurant, I had a cigarette, like really wanted to have that after a good meal. I'm going to take 7 minutes and just walk around the block. Every single time that I did that, by the end of that 7 minutes, I forgot about the cigarette. I still have not smoked one since then. That plan, having a plan in place for the things that you know are going to come up. Oh, thank you. I still like the smell, oddly enough. You walk, through a crowd of smokers. Oh, yeah. But I do not succumb to actually grabbing one. But the plan is so important, and that's what our lives are. We're just adrift. Life is directing our movie until we make a plan and an intention, and then we step into that. So if you don't know what your movie is, make that your plan. And set a time. Maybe today, before dinner, I will take 5 minutes to just sit in the silence and just ask, what is my plan? And recognizing it's not us that's doing that work. It's Spirit. It's that bigger thing. It has a plan in a sense of your desires and your callings. It does not get offended if you don't follow that plan, because it's too big for that. It doesn't care. And heaven on earth is a real possibility, but it takes a plan and it takes an intention. And again, that thing doesn't care when we get it, because it knows that we will get it. It might be 1,000 lifetimes or however that works, but we will. Everybody will get it because there's nothing else to be. It's just a matter of knowing it. But that can be your plan, to find out exactly what it is you want. Or if you already have that, then what is one thing every day that I can do? And as a quick reminder, found this painting, and I like it. It's kind of dark, but I like it. As Eckhart Tolle would tell you, the best movies, and really any movie, as soon as it starts, there's a problem. There's a problem. Because there wouldn't be a movie without it if there wasn't something. And that's life. That's what evolution is. There's always problems. There's always things that come up, and it's to animals, to trees, to anything in existence. There's always something that is a problem, but it calls us forward. It is an opportunity to grow and to learn. So reminding that, as we are leaning into living our life out loud, our yearly theme, that this shadow work, make friends with those problems and those challenges, and don't be afraid of encountering them, because when we do, we will have the strength that will get us through. We've always gotten through, and we always will. So recognize and be ready and have a plan. And the last couple things here. So we have a call to action. Little things. I look to my heroes of old, my heroes, contemporary, and they seem like, man, they've done so much. And this comes from Napoleon Hill. If you can't do great things, do small things in a great way. Don't wait for great opportunities. Seize common, everyday ones and make them great. This has been a challenge for a lot of my life. I have these ideas, and something will start panning out, and I'll get really excited, and my mind jumps to they say you way overestimate what you can do in 1 year. But you underestimate what you can do in 5. It's because of the flip here. I can get overwhelmed if I start thinking about these big things and then quickly realize, within that year's time, like, oh, maybe that's not how it's going to unfold. And then that can cause discouragement. But just the littlest things can make a huge difference. And it's a little bit at a time. And those people that have done those great things, I was thinking of Martin Luther King, and he actually used this quote. He said, if I can't do great things, I can do small things in a great way. I didn't realize that he was also maybe a fan of New Thought. But if you look at somebody's life like that, and it's, these huge, the march across, the bridge, or Selma, all the things, the speech, I have a dream, you see these huge things that people do, and it's like, man, I'd like to do that. But it was all the little things that they did that just compounded until they had no other way to be than to happen and create those bigger things. And so we all have the power to do just one little thing. And when we talk about collective consciousness, which we talk a lot about here, and Ernest Holmes even talked about it, that we are like on a verge, we can feel it, of a shift in consciousness where we got to try a new way of being, and we are ready to do that. Well, right now, we have the collective power. Just take a second and go within and think about anything that makes you feel more love in your heart. Right now, letting just that feeling of love in your heart well up, you have just shifted your own consciousness. You've elevated, even if it's just a little, it's an elevation. And collectively, whether you believe we are intertwined or not, personally I do, but even if you don't, you still have to recognize we are one human race and we collectively have our consciousness. You have just elevated the entire consciousness of humanity on this planet. Might just seem like a little bit, but it's not. It's power. And anytime we can get ourselves to do that, we are shifting in our own lives, and it ripples out. So we have to have a plan. So I invite you to take time, and it helps by starting, make a time right now. When, later today, can you take a minute to just kind of go off by yourself and just sit, even if it's just for 5 minutes? When can you do that? And make that commitment. Or maybe it's something that will trigger it, like when you get thirsty before the end of the day, or when you say goodnight to somebody. Oh, I made a plan that I would do this then. And just little by little, shifting into a new way of being ever so perfectly. So I invite us all just to go ahead and go within as we recognize that infinite thing that I call God, but you can call it whatever you want, that has been sought after for millennia, even though it was always right there within us. And we know that, and we feel that, and it whispers to us. And in this very moment, it is present in this room. Just by drawing our attention to it, it makes itself known. And we're able to slow down and let it in. So I recognize that every single living being on this planet, every single piece of matter that is the stardust of the universe is all that physical manifestation of the infinite that I call God. And it is everywhere and everything in every way, and it is absolutely perfect in its magnificence and brilliance that it is. And that each and every person that hears these words has that within, and that they can hear that there is that whispering, that still small voice, or maybe it's screaming loudly throughout the entire body. But that voice is there, and that we are one with it. It is us, and that it is our job, if we are willing to accept this responsibility to bring that into manifestation in our physical realities now. So I invite everyone to set up your triggers, whatever your plan is, to daily ask ourselves, what movie are we directing, and how do I move in that direction where I create the standing ovation of when I leave this world behind to enter into that great beyond of a constant upward expansion that we are called to be. And as we tune in and feel this, that light shines brightly in this room. And it is sending out a beacon to this entire planet, connecting with all those who are in their space, in their own ways, celebrating spirit in the way that calls to them. And that light is sparking more and more to where we are creating a life and a world of peace for one another, for ourselves, through our entire being that ripples out, creating a new way on this planet. Letting go of the ways of might makes right and moving into the ways of when I win, you win. When we meet the needs of the many, the needs of the all can be realized. It is no longer okay to watch others flounder while some are stuck in their walled-in castles, hiding their light. That there is truly enough on this planet, and that as we recognize our light and the infinite that it is, it just ripples out, one at a time, through each and every one of us. So I give gratitude for each and every person that's on their own individual path. I give gratitude for everybody who walked through these doors, for whoever came into this room through the internet, for whoever is just opening up. I say thank you for it all. And I say thank you for Spirit, which is giving us that inspiration whenever we're able to hear it, and then acts on our behalf to make it the reality. Thank you for it all. And I let these words go, knowing that as we do, it is already done in the mind of Spirit, and now we can simply step into that flow of that river and let it be heaven on earth for each and every one of us. And I affirm it that it is already done by just saying these words that we hear so often. We just say together, and so it is. So it is. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Colette. Thank you. Oh, thank you. So this is where we invite you to support what we're doing here in the way that you feel called to. And we also like to offer thanks for the support you've already offered, and support for everybody else who's offered in the years up to this point. I have no doubt of where we are all heading, and it's truly a joy to get to contribute and lead to that, knowing that shift is happening, and it happens through each and every one of us. So, giving from your heart, whatever you like to give, and we also welcome your time, treasure, talents as well, because you'll see we have volunteer opportunities coming up also. So there's many ways to give. So you can text the tithe is my favorite way. We do 239-320-3820. You just text the dollar amount, and it will send back directions to set it up. And once it's set up, that's all you have to do is send any dollar amount, and it does the work for you. You can send your contribution through PayPal, which is paypal@cslcapecoral.org. And you can also use the donate button on our website, which is cslcapecoral.org. You can mail a check to the center, 406 Southeast 24th Avenue, Cape Coral, Florida, 33990. And we also have our wonderful ushers here today. Thank you, Michelle and Lily. So they will be coming around with baskets. If you have prayer requests, we absolutely believe in the power of prayer. You can give that to us at this time as well. And then we have an affirmation that we like to say. So however you like to join us, if you like to hold something in your hand, just join us as we say, today, I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of this center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. and so it is. And big little band.
Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good. Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good.
So I offer thanks on behalf of this center and all the people who are blessed and lifted up by this, knowing that these gifts are received, are well used, and that the gifts return in greater nature to all those who offer in all the ways that this reaches out. So knowing that this is divinely guided and blessed, I say thank you, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you both. Absolutely. Okay, so I think I had a couple of things, but I know we're going to have some announcements. So there's B. B's going to lead us through some announcements, and I might have something to jump in with later, but I'll let you go for now. Thanks. So B, Dory, everybody.
Good morning. I think is this still morning? Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Anyhow, we have a few announcements, and if we miss something, there'll be flyers out in the lobby. So, of course, we are always pleased to announce that there's always opportunities to be of service in the center here, and I consider that a sacred service. And I can't think of anything better than giving your time and your talent to your spiritual home. And so it is. So we have opportunities for the youth, and there's a sign-up sheet in the back on the table. And the next slide. Today is Potluck Sunday, so everybody stay and be blessed and have fellowship. And there's always plenty of food, so if you didn't bring something, there's always enough to go around. And continuing the Course in Miracles on Mondays in here at the center in the back room, 10 to 11:30 in person, or Thursday evenings, 7 to 8:30 on Zoom. Suggested love offering is $10 per meeting. You could call or text to register Melissa or Patty Carney, and I believe they're both here today. And we need grill masters for the Pride Picnic coming up June 25th, and we also will need other volunteers to help run the show here. So we're always looking for volunteers, and like I said, it's the best service you can do. And Tuesday, June 6th, from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Via Zoom, Patty Carney, Holy Fire 3 Reiki Master, does a distance Reiki session on Zoom, and you can. That's also on a love donation basis, and you can register. And then our very own Reverend Chris is graduating June 10th in Orlando, and anyone wishing to go and join is welcome. I guess if a bunch of people wanted to go, they could carpool. And we also have that same day here at the center, we have a CPR class. So we have a few things going on that day. And Reverend Chris is offering a class from Whence We Came, a history of New Thought. It is a 10-week course. It begins on Wednesday, June 7th via Zoom from 7 to 9:30 p.m. And of course, it's by our very own Reverend Chris. And it's a $195 investment, and that includes your certificate. And it's my understanding that if you are going for your practitioner license, it'll cover one of your history classes that you will need. One of two they need? Oh, okay, so they only need one, and that would be one of the ones. And like I said before, the CPR class is coming up June 10th here at the center from 1 to 3 p.m. The cost is $65, or for the youth team facilitators, it's $35. Register by June 7th. And before we leave here, we have our practitioners come up, and they will be more than happy to pray with you, and you will receive your 1-minute miracle. And Reverend Chris is going to come up.
I was just going to add to the potluck today. So we do our community meeting once a month, and everybody's welcome to stay and check that out. We'll do it while they're setting up. That way, as soon as the community meeting is done, then it's time to eat. So come hear what's going on. This is kind of a recap of what we do at our Leadership Council meeting every month. And we're an open community, so we like to share with you what we're doing, and you can always come ask questions. Our minutes for the Leadership Council are out there, so you can know what we're doing, how we are being stewards with your contributions and what we have in person. And then, good incentive. If you want to do the CPR course, we started it for youth facilitators, but we thought it was a great opportunity for anybody. So it's $65, which is a great deal for a 2-year certification, but it's also motivation to get more people on the youth team. So the Leadership Council is subsidizing $30 of that for anybody that would like to come work with the youth. It's really once a month is what we like to get out of each youth facilitator, so you don't get burnt out, and so the whole team rotates and brings some variety. That's it. So thank you.
And we just want to thank you for coming today. Please stay for potluck. Come up and get prayer from our amazing licensed practitioners. They will, if you're not familiar with our prayer, it's an affirmative prayer, and they will affirm with you the positivity that we know exists in each and every one of us, and the outcome, as Reverend Chris was talking about, and Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. And it really is that prayer of affirmation to know who you really are as that beautiful individual expression of the divine. Enjoy your week.
Yeah, stand up. Let's start dancing.